Hey bag maker, today I'm going to be talking about the Oliso Mini Project Iron Anna Maria Horner fabrics. The book review will be for a book called Supercute Sewing. We'll be showing a trailer video showing all of the Minikins Season 3 projects, and there's a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Welcome to Sewcial Sunday. So excited for the show tonight. I prepared a fun notion to share with you, progress on a sampler quilt that I'm working on, so lots of fun stuff to share. I see Angie said, just ordered my Minikins 3. I'm so freaking excited. Joan says, hi Sarah and Danny. Jadine is watching from Hawaii, also a viewer from San Antonio, Texas. So welcome everybody. Thanks for either catching us live or if you watch the recording later on during the week. Thank you for making time for Sewcial Sunday. So just a friendly reminder, just about everything that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And everything that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the notions, fabrics, books, or projects that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find out more information there. So later on in 2020, I was talking to my friend Sarah, and she was telling me about the Oliso Mini Project Iron, which is this right here. So I decided to pick one up and review it on the show, and it's available in a few different colors. I picked up this aqua color, but I think they had 5 different colors available. Danny's going to switch over to the overhead camera and I'm going to show you this cute little iron. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It comes with a silicone kind of shoe that goes on the bottom, so it's really easy to put on and take off. You just first slide the front of the iron on the top edge, and then the bottom edge just kind of pops over the bottom part of the iron. I don't have it plugged in. I just wanted to share the features with you, but I did use it yesterday while I was working on these quilt blocks over here. So let me take this off and show you how it works. So the water just goes in this section in the back of the iron. It just pops up. According to the instruction manual, you can just use regular tap water unless you have very hard water, and then there's instructions in there to use a different method besides tap water, but I don't have hard water, so tap water should be fine. And there's 2 buttons on either side for the seam, so you can hold them and push them. There's a knob on the top for on-off, and then there's 3 different heat settings. So if you're using quilting cotton, which is what I normally do, that would be the highest setting, which I'm not sure if you can see, they're very small. There's 3 little dots over here. What else to share about this iron? The unique feature of this iron, I don't know if you have a regular sized Oliso iron. I don't. So for some reason I thought the regular size of this brand of iron, you don't have to set it up on its side. When you set it down and take your hands off of it, it has little feet that push the iron off of your ironing board. So the miniature size is a little bit different. So you use this silicone heat-friendly sleeve, and one side is marked resting side. So when you're done ironing, while it's still plugged in, you just set it on the sleeve, and the sleeve can accommodate the heat from the iron. And then when you're ready to continue working on your project, you just take it off the sleeve, so you're not resting it like a traditional iron would be rested. So I was using this yesterday when I was working on these quilt blocks. More of my quilt blocks later, but I have a wool mat. So here's what I like to do for when I'm working on quilt blocks. Brandon Tippy says, do you use that in place of a big iron or do you travel with it? So great question. So my ironing board is on one corner of the room, way over there, and my sewing machine is over here. So pretty much opposite corners of the room. So when I'm working on a bag project, it's totally fine for walking over to my regular ironing board to iron the pieces as I'm working on the bag. However, for quilt blocks, especially sampler quilt blocks, when a lot of different types of blocks are coming into play, I like to have my ironing station right next to my sewing machine. So if you have an ironing board right next to your sewing machine, I used to have that when we were in a smaller room at our old house, but I don't have that here. So It's probably not an issue if you have the ironing board right next to your sewing machine, but for quilt blocks, I like to have my ironing station right here. So what I do is I have my 17-inch wool mat, which it's literally butted up next to my sewing machine. So I have the wool mat. I like to use either my regular iron or these mini project irons are really great for something like that, a different type of workstation. And I was just using my 17-inch wool mat, and in between sewing pieces of the block together, I was just pressing seams either to the side or open, and it made things a lot faster. Great for just traditional quilt blocks or foundation paper piecing. I feel like it works really well having a pressing station within easy reach. So I guess you'll need to determine your uses. Like I said, it might depend on how far your ironing board is from your sewing machine, but I really thought this was neat. I will admit I was a little weirded out putting the iron down because I'm not used to doing that on this silicone sleeve, but it does work as advertised, and even on my wood table, I didn't feel the heat on the table underneath. So again, it's the Oliso Mini Project Iron. I linked to this iron in the description in case you're interested in reading more about the iron. And I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments, what kind of iron do you have? So I do have the 2 full-sized irons that I use, the Singer Expert Finish, and also I have the Panasonic. I have a cordless iron, so I've used both of those before. I've used both of those in videos before. They both work great, and just have that small mini travel iron to add to the iron stash. So I wanted to share progress on this sampler quilt that I showed a few weeks ago on Sewcial Sunday. So it was it's available as a pattern, also available as a quilt kit with the fabrics. I bought both the pattern and the kit just because I didn't want to decide on fabrics. I just wanted them chosen for me. So this is what I shared a few weeks ago on Sewcial Sunday, and the quilt is on the back. When Danny switches to the overhead camera, I'll show this again. Yeah, Danny, you could switch to the overhead camera now. Okay, so this is what the quilt looks like. It's a sampler quilt. There's full color instructions. There's really not much text besides the sizes of the pieces you need to cut and put together. It's all pretty much diagrams, which worked fine for me. So the thing I liked about this particular pattern is it requires 10 different fabrics, and the instructions have you cut all 10 fabrics first before you even start. So I have these plastic sleeve protectors that I reuse for different projects, and I just put a little post-it in there so that I can take it off when I'm done. And there's 20 different block styles in the pattern, and so I numbered my little sleeves 1 through 20, and then as I was cutting the fabric, I put the fabrics inside the sleeves. So I've got all my fabrics when I'm ready to start block 20, which is really nifty because if I'm in the mood to make a block, the fabric's all cut out already, and I can just sew the block together as I wish. And these are the blocks that I finished so far. They're various sizes, which is really cool. Let me show you the back of the quilt pattern again. Some are really large and some are quite small, so I just randomly chose different blocks depending on how complicated I felt like getting on that particular day. And some blocks, the design is several more than one, and some blocks are just the single. Like this one was just a single block, and I made a couple more. As you can see, different sizes. These are pretty much the same block but just different sizes. So looking forward to sharing the finished quilt when the time comes, and it's been lots of fun working on this project. So I have another question for you as I move these blocks out of the way. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite stripes, solids, or polka dots? So whether it's for a bag or for some other projects. I'm always super into polka dots. However, I do enjoy a good solid. I seem to prefer solids for bag making, so that's what I used for that Moda quilt, and I feel like 90% of the quilts I make some form of a solid fabric. So new fabrics that I've added to my stash recently. These are not newer fabrics, but I hadn't had them previously. I recently ordered them. So Danny, if you would, please switch to the overhead camera again. These are all designed by Anna Maria Horner. I guess I'll start with the smaller scale prints first. And I really love the bright colors. These are pretty much all floral fabrics, so I'll just go through them one at a time. So these are the same design, different colorways. I really love this butterfly print. I only picked it up in this in this one colorway, but I thought it was pretty cool. As you can see, the butterflies are quite large. Another print with some bright colors. This floral print over here. And then I got it in a peachy color as well. There's some birds in the background. Let me open this up a little bit so you can see the design. Yeah, it's rather a peach colored background, which is something I don't have in my stash. Here's another one, large, much larger florals. And then I've got two more. So these are both the same design, and these are sort of a, not really a stripy design, but like the way the design repeats, it sort of is like a large format stripe, and then the same in a different colorway. Oh, that one's upside down. Okay, so I love the colors. Something like this would be really great for maybe an airplane bag, a larger bag, and she's always got great fabric lines with really fun florals and bright colors. So again, these are all designed by the same person, Anna Maria Horner, and the link is in the description in case you'd like to check out more of her fabrics, and I linked to Etsy, so you'll see a lot of different fabric designs by that designer when you click on my link. So book review for this week is a book that the publisher sent me, so fair warning, but they did send me a second copy to give away on the show, and I actually chose the book, so it was a book that I requested from them, and it's called Supercute Sewing, all little plush and stuffed animals. So Danny's going to switch back over, thank you Danny, to the overhead. Lots of fun projects, 20 projects in the book. And I'm just going to flip through the projects, and I'll flip through one of the pattern pages just so you can see the format of the instructions. So little elephant family. This elephant family, this is the page that I'm going to share sort of the instruction style. So it's text complete with full color diagrams for some of the steps. Lou and the Lion. A lot of these are really cute. Some feature buttons for the eyes, like this one. A really cute seal. I like that they're made in various quilting cotton fabrics. It just gives me different ideas for what kinds of fabrics to use for the projects. Of course, you could use different things like faux furs and things like that, but this is one of my favorites, this little alien. He's so cute. And he looks relatively easy, it doesn't look like a lot of pieces involved for that particular project. And here's a UFO to go with that little alien. Millie and Milo, two little monsters. A mermaid, she's got some nice wool in her hair and on her bathing suit. A little robot. I could see some of these being really cute things to make either with kids or for kids. A little fairy. I mean, these are so adorable. Like I thought the book would be relatively cute, but when I started looking through the projects, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many that I would like to make. This is the one I want to make first, this little dragon. Adorable. Okay, a little princess doll. Garden quilt. There's a few accessory type projects included in the book as well, which I thought was really fun. This little ladybug bag. Snail, and there's a couple more. An actual mobile that you can make, that's super cute. And then one more bug in a rug, sort of a little tiny little blankie. So all the pattern pieces are included in the book. All you need to do is make copies of them. There's quite a few pages of pattern pieces, so everything's included. The instructions look great, project's super cute, and again, the book is called Supercute Sewing, and there's a link in the description in case you're interested in checking out the book, and it's from the designer of Melly and Me, so she's got a lot of other plush and softy type patterns, so you should check out her website as well. So let's see, I'm running out of room on my table today. I have so many things over here on set. So lately I've been reading some of your letters about how sewing made your dream come true, and so tonight I have my own letter to read to you. I typed it up this morning, and I have some visuals to go along with my letters. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. So I started my blog in 2010. It was called Sew Sweetness, and at the time it was just to post my finished sewing projects, many of them for my kids. Like this picture, this is pajamas I made for William, shorts and a t-shirt with applique fabric on the front, and I didn't know better at the time, or maybe I was just in a hurry, but I didn't pre-wash the fabric, and it was sort of fabric that was on the cheap side, so when I did wash it, it shrunk quite a bit and it didn't fit as nicely as I intended it to, or at least as nicely as it fit before I washed it, but lesson learned. And I was learning as I went along, as you could see by my pajama set. I worked in pet stores for 14 years, which was honest work, but I wanted to test sewing's limits, and so I started going to sewing and quilting trade shows, at first to promote my blog and later on to promote my own sewing patterns. So here is a picture of me and Tula Pink. This is the first time I met Tula Pink. This was from 8 years ago. It was the second trade show, I think the second trade show I ever went to, and the reason I'm wearing glasses in that photo is because I was very diligent in packing all of my items in my suitcase, and I was a big fan of making lists and checking my lists off, and somehow I forgot to pack my contact lenses, and so I was super upset when I got there because I had to wear my glasses the whole time, which was fine. I know I look fine in my glasses, but it was super amazing meeting her in person. And if you don't already know, if you haven't heard me mention on the show before, my tattoo sleeve is all Tula Pink fabric designs, and obviously I'm a big fan, but I like that I have something like this to tie me into sewing as well. So for 7 years I went to trade shows twice a year. It was every May and every October, and I was really relentless about it. At times I'm not sure I truly belonged, but I kept going anyway. Looking back through old photos, I realized that it was these two, this is William and Violet when they were really little, and Danny, that I was doing all this for. I wanted to show them that I was a strong person and for them to be proud of me. As it happened, going to college for art didn't result in any kind of a job for me, so I wanted to show them that there's a lot of different paths that one can take, especially if you can get creative with it and think outside the box. So this past Christmas, my mom gave me one of my drawings that she found in the basement. I'm going to hold up the drawing. It's a little crinkly, but I think you can see it pretty well if I hold it like this. So looking at the signature, I drew this in 1997. I'll keep holding it up while I'm reading from my letter. I drew this in 1997, so I was about 16 years old. My family got the internet fairly early on, and at the time chat rooms and message boards were the big thing. I remember somehow finding a message board for people selling horses, and I found someone selling a horse, well, technically a pony, in nearby Wisconsin. I don't remember all the details, but in short, I set it up with this person in Wisconsin to purchase this pony all before asking my parents. When it was time for them to expect me to come make the purchase, I wrote a note to my parents, and I think I put it under my mom's pillow. I'm just going off memory the best I can. So I put it under my mom's pillow. I asked to buy this pony, and I offered to sell my Breyer horses in order to pay for him. And these horses that I have around the sewing room, these are Breyer horses. These are one of my newer ones, but I had some pretty decent ones at the time, and one was even signed. So my proposition was to use the model horses, sell them, and pay for an actual horse. I think the cost was about $2,000 or $3,000. Even at that age, I didn't comprehend all of the additional costs that are involved in owning a horse. I thought if I could just get that purchase price, we'd worry about the rest later. However, that's not how it works. Needless to say, the answer was no, and needless to say, the person selling the pony was a bit upset with me. At the time, and even as an adult, I didn't have friends that rode horses or even really knew anyone that did. Growing up in the suburbs of Chicago and later in Chicago itself, it was just not that common. It almost seemed like the sort of thing that other people did or people I saw in the movies. I still loved horses, but it was more of a nice daydream than something I ever seriously thought that I'd be able to do myself. You may or may not have noticed that all 12 of the patterns in Minikins Season 3 are named after horse breeds. My goal is to own a horse one day, and in honor of that goal, I've named those patterns as such. I worked on these Minikins Season 3 patterns and videos for 9 months, and I'm really proud of the resulting projects. I really hope that you love making these new projects. You all are always at the front of my mind as I hear those voices throughout the years, mainly from teaching classes in person, but some of the things I would hear would be, I'm a little afraid to make a bag, I haven't made one before, or putting in a zipper really scares me, I'm not sure I can do it. So put the power in your hands and let me be your guide. Due to the magical nature of video, I'll be right there with you every step of the way. So with that being said, thank you for letting me share my letter, and thank you for those of you who sent some of your letters in, and we'll continue reading more on the show, but I'd like to invite all of the bag makers to stand proud. Let us know in the comments that you're part of the Sew Sweetness squad. We're so happy that you're here. Glad to have you part of the community. I love reading the comments and pictures in the Facebook group. Love seeing you chat before the show, and I'm just really grateful for all of you that participate, watch the show, all of the above. So thank you so much. And Danny and I filmed a short trailer video a few days ago showing all of the Minikins projects, Minikins Season 3 projects, as well as the names to go along with each project. So Danny's going to play that video and enjoy. Hey bag maker, I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness, and I am so excited to introduce you to Minikins Season 3. It's a bundle of 12 exclusive patterns and videos for smaller projects such as a purse organizer, a clear stadium bag, and a double train case. So let me introduce you to the projects. This is the Palomino pouch. It comes in 3 different sizes, and it features a unique curved shape on the front and sides of the pouch. This is what the lining looks like. And there's a pull tab on either end, which is handy for holding onto when opening and closing the zipper. The Mustang purse organizer comes in 2 different sizes, and it features several different styles of pockets. There's accordion pockets, slip pockets on both the interior and the exterior. There's a mesh elastic pocket, and there's also a zippered divider in the center of the bag. Handles on either end make it easy to transport the organizer into your next purse. The Frisian pouch comes in 3 different sizes, and this project features 3 separate sections. So the center section of the pouch is the widest, and there's also separate sections on both the front and the back of the pouch that features a mesh elastic pocket on the inside for storing smaller items, and there's also pull tabs on either end for holding onto when closing and opening the zipper. The Brumby pouch comes in 3 different sizes, and this is a tall boxed pouch. It's beautiful for storing cosmetics, sewing supplies, and more. This is the quickest pattern of the bunch. The Andalusian pouch comes in a single size and features a zipper on the back of the pouch. A metal frame allows the top to open wide, and there's also a grab handle on one end that makes it easy to transport. The piebald pouch comes in 3 different sizes. This pouch features a unique curved zippered flap. This is what it looks like on the inside. The loop on the back allows you to hang or hold this pouch. The Percheron pouch comes in 3 different sizes. There's a handle on the top, and it also has 2 separate zippered sections. The Connemara pouch comes in 3 different sizes. There's minimal pieces to cut out, just the front and the back fabrics. And there's a pull tab on either end, which makes it easy to open and close the zipper. This is probably one of my favorite projects to make because it's so quick and stylish. The Pinto Stadium bag comes in a single size and features clear vinyl finished with binding made of quilting cotton. This bag features an adjustable strap, and it's just large enough for your essentials. This is the Newfoundland pouch. It comes in 3 different sizes, and it's a boxy style pouch that features a fun accordion divider in the lining for keeping your supplies separate. It's a super fun project with unlimited uses. This is the Falabella pouch. The Falabella pouch comes in 3 different sizes. This is an expandable pouch, so when the zipper is zipped, the top section is at its full height, and when the zipper is unzipped, the top section pushes down and reveals the markers, brushes, and other supplies that are inside. This is the Hackney pouch. The Hackney pouch comes in 3 different sizes. It's a round pouch that's great for handheld devices. It features a mesh zippered pocket in the lining. I just love the shape of this pouch. Each pattern includes pattern pieces for at-home printing, color photos for just about every step in the pattern, and there's also a full-length video to go along with each pattern. In the videos, I walk you through the entire process from start to finish, from cutting out the pattern pieces to attaching the interfacing and finishing the pouches up until the very end. I hope you enjoyed that look at all 12 projects from Minikins Season 3. So what are you waiting for? Grab your bundle now. I can't wait to see what you make. And remember, if I can do it, so can you. So I hope you enjoyed that look at all of the projects. I know many of you have already gotten your bundles, so I really appreciate your support. And the Minikins Season 3 will be $80 now through April 6th, and after that it will be $88 like Seasons 1 and 2 now are. So I have a giveaway. I'm going to be answering some questions. First, I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and that winner is Audrey Rohrer. So congratulations to Audrey. Please email me after the show or whenever you see this, and my email is sarah@sewsweetness.com, and that's Sarah with no H. And congratulations to you again, and stay tuned, there's another giveaway at the end of the show. So if you have a question for me, let me know in the comments, either a sewing related question about a notion or tool, or general bag making question. You can type that in the comments right now, either on Facebook or YouTube. And if you could either put a little question mark before you type your question, or type it in capital letters, it just helps Danny spot the questions among all of the comments on the show. So Terry says, can you use this iron without water? You sure can. If you I know some people like to have a dry iron and then keep a little spray bottle with either spray starch or water or some other concoction near their ironing board, and just use the spray bottle and keep their iron empty. So if you would prefer for that particular iron, you can keep it empty. And actually I haven't put in water into it yet. When I was working on those quilt blocks yesterday, I just had it empty with no water. Wanda says, is it okay to leave on in between pressing? Some irons cannot be left on for long periods of time. So I would recommend, because for this particular iron you're not leaving it upright, you're putting it down on that silicone sole plate. It does protect your surface from the heat, but you don't want to go leaving the iron for a few hours. So you want to make sure you're supervising it, I suppose you could say. Let's see. Elaine says, I saw someone recommended a silicone mat from Amazon to put under your wool mat. So actually Danny bought me a few silicone mats to go under my wool mat. Currently I'm using a sort of a glass plate with little felt foot pads on the bottom. He did buy me a couple silicone mats. That was the intention to use them, but they were not completely flat. They had little organizers on them. So I told him, you know, nice try, we'll try something else. So I'm still looking for a different silicone mat. When I find one, I'll certainly switch that out for the glass plates that I've been using. Teresa says, do you keep all the quilts you make, or do you gift them? So I've gifted a few. I'm not sure what the percentage would be. Maybe 25% is gifts, the rest is keeping them. We have a bunch over on our couch over there. When we watch TV, we use them. When it's not winter, when it's cooler weather, we switch out to the handmade quilts. So they do get some use in our household. Another question, Danny? Thank you. Kelly says, no, it's okay. 2 of those bags featured large florals. One coral, one blue. What is it? I'm not sure which one it is off the top of my head. I have a lot of them here on the desk. You can always email me after the show, and I'll get you either fabric names, designer names, or links to the fabrics. And if you if you purchase the bundle on the video page, I also reference the name of the fabric that I used in that particular video. Mel says, have you used quilt blocks for making bags? If so, what bag pattern do you recommend to use quilt blocks on? Oh, I have in the past. I'm trying to think which ones. I did make a simple tote bag. I never turned it into a pattern, but I did use a 12-inch unfinished quilt, 12.5-inch unfinished quilt block. It's really good for larger size bags. I've seen a few. I don't know. I've seen a few posted in the Facebook group. Perhaps the Tudor bag. I'll have to check after the show. But again, you can email me and I'll try to get you links to some of the patchwork bags that people have made and posted in the group. Kristen says, when you make snips around curves, do you make them through both pieces of fabric or just the straight one? So that's a really great question. You can always do either through both fabrics or just the one that's the straight edge, such as a side panel. Some people like to make clips in their zipper tape as well if the zipper is a factor. Some people don't like to cut into the zipper, so you might want to try it both ways to see what your personal preference is, but at least cutting through the straight edge fabric will really help ease the fabric through the curve. Anne says, I struggle with foam creating wrinkles on fabric after birthing. Any suggestions? So if you're using a fusible foam, you might want to perhaps treat it as a sew-in foam. You can also, before applying the foam, apply a layer of Pellent Shape Flex to kind of smooth everything out on the fabric. If you've already made the bag and you're seeing the wrinkles, you can try, I was working on a bag the other day, one of my prototypes, and I was seeing wrinkles in the finished bag, so I was spritzing it with water and using my dry iron to kind of ease out the wrinkles. So I guess that's one of the reasons, personal preference, but I do like the sew-in foam a little bit better just so I don't have to worry about any wrinkling occurring in the finished project. Cheryl says, can I use a number 3 zipper in the small bellow pouch? So some of my patterns, it does matter what size of zipper you use, whether a handbag zipper, which would be a number 5, or the number 3, which is a dress skirt zipper. In my patterns where it matters, I usually note that in the supply list, and if I just say a 24-inch long zipper, then it can be your choice, either one. So for that particular pattern, I did draft that to accommodate the handbag zipper. If you'd like to use the number 3 zipper instead, I would just suggest making the zipper panels wider to account for that thinner zipper, and then you can trim them down. There's a step in the pattern instructions for trimming down the zipper panel anyway, so just cut it a little bit wider, maybe a 1/4 of an inch wider for each one, and I think you should be okay. Ruth says, what would be the quickest and easiest bag to start with in Minikins 3? So I think the fastest is the Brumby pouch, I believe, is one of the fastest projects. Another quick one is the Connemara pouch over here. So those are both fairly quick, and no extra supplies needed besides fabric interfacing and zipper. Lynn says, what kind of needles do you use in your Juki to make bags? So I use a 9014 needle, Microtex needle. I like either the Organ brand or the Schmetz brand. I use both interchangeably depending on what I currently have. I do have, in case you're working with other substrates, I normally work with quilting cotton. Sometimes I throw in some cork or a thinner vinyl. If you're working with other substrates, you might need to change out your needle. I do have a video on my YouTube channel talking about different needles for bag making, and you can just find that by doing a search on the Sew Sweetness YouTube channel. Erica says, when making a quilt that you plan to use and wash, do you pre-wash the fabrics before sewing the quilt together? So that's a great question. So I'm not a quilt expert, but I do know the answer to this question. If you pre-wash your fabric, you'll just get a little bit of a different look in the finished quilt after you've completed it and washed it. If you don't pre-wash your fabric, either you don't feel like doing it, or if you're working with pre-cuts like charm squares or jelly rolls where you might not want to pre-wash because it might lead to a lot of fraying, you'll get more of a crinkly looking effect in the fabric in the finished quilt, and that also might be affected by the type of batting that you choose to use. But again, personal preference, if you like it more crinkly looking, or if you prefer a little bit less crinkly or smoother, that would be the pre-washing.
It seems like
was there a question that
the link, I'll have to double check the link.
Okay.
But it's a couple people said it's not working.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll check out the link after the show. I'm assuming this is the link in the description.
Did you ask the Mustang one?
I did not, because I was trying to listen for your question. Kathy says, what bag would you use with the large Mustang purse organizer? So the small size, which is the petite, I've got that right here. This will fit in a size approximately Baker Street bag or smaller. Anything bigger than the Baker Street bag, you'll want to use the size regular for. And we do have I do have the finished sizes for all of the projects in the product listing for Minikins Season 3. So if you're interested in knowing the actual dimensions, you can check the product listing, scroll all the way to the bottom, and all the dimensions, the finished dimensions, outer dimensions that is, will be in the product listing. Margot says, do you use a design wall when working on quilts? I actually don't. I occasionally work on quilts, but I'm not a regular quilt maker. I do have one somewhere, perhaps in the garage, so maybe I'll get that set up one of these days, but for now I'm just laying all the quilt blocks on the floor before I start assembling them. Robin says, I made a bag this weekend and used silver rivets instead of gold tone. Gold would look better. Do you know of a way to remove rivets? Yes, I have a video on my YouTube channel demonstrating this fun little notion that I used. It was a rivet removal tool from Clum House, and again, you can either find that on my website or on my YouTube channel. Just look for rivet removal tool. Elizabeth says, can you get all of the notions for Minikins Season 3 in your shop? So I think you should be able to. So we have handbag zippers in the shop, as well as number 3 zippers by the yard. So a couple of the projects need the number 3 zippers, such as the zipper in this Mustang purse organizer. We do have the metal frames in stock for the Andalusian pouch, which is the one that pops open with the metal frame. So we have those frames. We do not sell the clear vinyl, but you should be able to find that at your local big box store. I use 12 gauge clear vinyl for that clear stadium bag, and I think that's it as far as notions go. We also do have acrylic templates for all of the projects. We have half of them in stock right now, and the other half are coming, I think, on Tuesday, so we'll have those shortly. Nettie says, the hardest part of the piebald is waiting for the glue to dry. Can that place be hand tacked? So the piebald pouch, there's one spot where we glue when the fabrics everything's turned wrong side out. I didn't find a great way to hand tack it, but I just waited. When I made this project for the video, I just applied the glue, added the Wonder clips, went and watched a TV show, and then we came back and finished the video. Connie says, what would you say are the 2 easiest patterns so we don't get discouraged? So you probably saw this already, but either the Brumby pouch or the Connemara pouch. Blossom says, do you ever think you'll ever carry metal grommets to match your purse hardware? Probably not, just because at least the grommets that I use are to go with my rivet press, and I just never was able to find a good source for rivet presses. Also, they're quite heavy to ship, and if we're not selling a rivet press, it probably doesn't, we probably just won't sell rivets to go with the presses if we're not selling the presses. Sammy says, are you not supposed to use steam with a wool mat? Because I find I get a not pleasant smell from mine when using steam. Actually, I use steam on mine all the time. I guess, I don't know if I'm used to the smell or it doesn't bother me, but there are sprays on the market. I'm not sure if Gypsy Quilter makes one, but there are sprays, wool sprays, that you can spray on your mat to sort of reduce the odor. Angie says, my big Oliso shuts off automatically. Does this little one not have an auto shut off? I don't think it does. I was reading the instruction manual before the show, and I don't see it mentioned anywhere on the outside of the box. No, I don't think so. I believe it's just the on-off switch. Gretchen says, do you ever get into a sewing slump? What do you do when this happens? So lately I've been working on cross-stitch projects, so try to keep busy. So if I don't feel like sewing, I tell myself, all right, just work on cross-stitch, or if you're in between cross-stitch projects, let's start another one. Quilt blocks is also a good one. So I either rely on the cross-stitch or the quilt blocks. Margie says, does the lower section of the double train case accommodate the essential oil foam divider? Oh, somebody answered this question the other day. I don't remember if it was Bronwyn or not, but the foam divider does fit in one of them. There's a little bit of extra space. I don't remember what size, but email me after the show and Bronwyn will answer because I'm pretty sure she's the one that found that information out in the first place. Casey says, do you have the wire pieces in stock for the Andalusian pouch? Yes, we have plenty in stock and we actually just got more. So plenty for anyone who wants metal frames for that project. Dee says, is there a trick to pressing seams open? The first inch or so behaves nicely, but then one side folds over. So depending on your iron, some irons have more of a pointy tip than others, which is good for pressing seams open. There's also an item called the strip stick, which you can find it online. Again, it's called strip stick. It's sort of a wooden stick with fabric and padding on the outside, and it helps seams kind of fold open so you can more easily press them. Jeannie says, do you use your Kai shears all the time? I just received mine and they are awesome. Yeah, I super love these. I've had them for years. These are my Kai scissors. They're model number 7205 and they're super smooth. I love them. Joan says, do you ever piece the foam interfacing if you are short in length or width? You certainly can. You can either use a longer zigzag stitch or you can use some seam tape. Helen makes a seam tape that comes in a little roll. You can use that if you wish. If you have some scraps of shape flux, you can cut those and butt the foam against each other, the two pieces, and use something like that. I tend to conserve as much as I can, save smaller pieces to cut like small projects for pouches, but I generally don't tend to piece them together. I guess, I don't know, I guess I'm being slightly wasteful. Excuse me, wasteful, but I try to do the best that I can, but I usually don't Franken foam them, but you sure can, and that works completely fine. Megan says, does that silicone mat retain the heat well? I have a tabletop ironing board that I put on my kitchen table. Could I put this on the tabletop? You might want to test it first before you go all out and just leave the iron on your table for long periods of time, but I was using it for a couple hours and it seemed fine. And this is we have a wooden tabletop from IKEA, kitchen countertop actually. Bronwyn says, yes, that was me. It does fit, not as snug as it's wider than the dab, but it's great for it. Yes, so that's the question the answer to the question about the dab essential oil case pattern with that foam insert. Barbara says, why do you need something under the wool mat? So the reason I need something under the wool mat is at our old house we had, was it granite countertops, Danny?
No.
No, what was it?
Gosh. I can't think of something.
We're drawing a blank, but my old sewing countertop was an actual kitchen countertop because they had extra, whatever the material was, slab. They had extra of the slab and they have to charge you for the full slab. So we used that for my sewing room in the old house. So in the old house, I did not use anything under the wool mat. In this current house, I have the wooden IKEA countertops and I don't want the steam from the iron to go through the wool because it will go through the wool underneath and ruin the table. I suppose you could have like a folded up towel underneath it or something else, but especially if you have a wooden table, you'll want to have something underneath it to protect the table from the steam. Terry says, will you redecorate your shelves with the new Minikins? Yes, I was waiting to do that. The other day I was looking at the shelves and thinking, all right, which ones can fit on the shelving? Do I maybe need to add an extra shelf or make some of them higher? Because some of them are quite small projects, but I'm looking forward to redecorating. Louisa says, do you have a sewing mat under your sewing machine? And if so, do you like it? I actually don't. The sewing machine is just on the tabletop. Maybe I should add some sort of mat, or I like the idea of having like a little thread catcher or something like that, but I don't currently have anything. Michelle says, I would like to make an insulated picnic backpack. Could you recommend a bag pattern, please? Perhaps? I don't know. My first thought was maybe the Petrillo bag, but that doesn't have a fully zippered closure, so maybe some of the heat or cold might get out. But if you have your eye on a particular style, you'll just want to use some sort of insulated fleece. Pellon makes a version, so does the Worm Company, and with that insulated fleece you'll use it on the lining and it will keep either hot items inside your bag or cold items, either one.
Quilts. Someone mentioned, I that's correct.
What'd you say?
Our countertops were quartz.
Quartz countertops, thank you. Karen says, can you recommend where to find 12 gauge vinyl for using in the Pinto Stadium bag? I can find 10 gauge, but it seems like that not be the right thickness. So I haven't made it in the 10 gauge. It might work. If you're in the United States, I bought my, it's been a while since I've been to a Joann's in person, but I bought my 12 gauge from Joann's, and they have different gauges. I think people generally commonly use them for like protectors on their kitchen tables or dining room tables, like a plastic sleeve covering. But yeah, check at Joann Fabrics or whatever your big box fabric store is. Are you calling in on the questions, Danny? All right, Danny is calling in on the questions. So I did not get to your question. If I did not get to your question live, oh, he said there were a lot of questions left. So sorry about that. But I will be back again next Sunday with Danny joining me on set for Sewcial Sunday next week. So last thing is the giveaway for tonight. So the publisher of the book that I reviewed on the show tonight sent me a second copy. So one copy of the book will be included in the giveaway, as well as, I hope you don't mind, I only use the iron once and with no water, but I'm going to be giving away this iron just because I have too many already. I'm going to be giving away this iron as well as the book to one single giveaway winner. I'll draw the winner at the end of the day this Saturday and announce the winner on next Sunday's show. And all you have to do to enter is let me know in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube, what is under your bed. So I was thinking about this before the show. Mostly what's under my bed is random pairs of socks. So either a left sock or a right sock, not matching pairs. I noticed the other day, so I'll have to get some of those socks out soon. But let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching Sewcial Sunday. I hope you have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.